What's up, family, and welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Wellness Podcast. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to our special Movember series. If you've been rocking with us all month long, welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about men's digestive health. Yep, we're going to talk all about gut health because it isn't just about women's wellness because, all over social media and all over TV, most times you will see things talking about gut health, and it's usually related to women. However, we all have a gut. And so whatever's going on in there definitely affects our overall wellness. What we eat, how we move, even how we manage our stress. It can make or break our digestion, our energy, and again, our overall wellness. So we're going to talk today a little bit about some symptoms that are going to clue you in that your gut may be out of whack. We're going to talk about some causes to why that happens. And then, of course, I'm always going to give you some practical ways to kind of reset that gut and get it back in a good, performing well. All right. Now, before we get into today's episode and dig deep into our guts, let's ground ourselves with a little bit of gratitude. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in to this very worthy series. It was a lot of love that I put into this series because I felt like it was important for men to get a spotlight because often they don't. And so I felt like it was very important here on the Melanin Wellness Podcast for us to shine a light on the things that affect our men in our community as well. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for your feedback. I thank you for your comments. I thank you for all the things, for your views, your shares. I thank you for all of that. I'm so grateful for you. I'm also grateful for the things that we take for granted. Waking up today, walking, talking, breathing, all the things. I am so grateful for all of those things. And again, thank you so much for joining me. Now, I know that was probably more than 30 seconds, but it's all good. Living in gratitude is a part of wellness. And don't forget, if you love these conversations, we now have the Melanin Wellness Podcast magazine, and it is a space that can be used as your wellness hub resource, except it's in digital form, and it is designed to support your journey beyond the mic. Okay. You're going to have wellness, fitness, travel, skincare, all the things, right? Yeah, so the link to check it out will be in the show notes if you'd like to take a peek. All right, let's get into the show. Now, your gut is not just about digestion. It is tied to your immunity, energy levels, and even your mood. Studies show that men often ignore digestive symptoms until it's something serious, which can lead to chronic illnesses like IBS, acid reflux, or even inflammatory conditions. So a healthy gut is going to help with nutrient absorption, keep your inflammation levels down, and support your mental clarity. So a lot of times when we wind up in brain fogs and we're forgetting things all the time, that is a symptom that something's going on with your gut. So let's talk a little bit about what's called the brain-gut axis, or your second brain is what the gut is known as. It's not just a catchy phrase. The gut is full of neurons and neurotransmitters like serotonin, which affects your mood. And it's essentially a second brain. It's a two-way street of communication, if you will. The connection is why stress can give you a stomach ache and why a healthy gut can improve your mood and your mental clarity. So you know that feeling of butterflies in your stomach when you have anxiety or excitement or anticipation of something when you're nervous? That's not a metaphor. That's actually your gut and your brain talking to each other. And now imagine what happens when that line of communication is constantly clogged up with junk food and stress. Not going to be a good look. Then there is the gut and immunity connection, right? So consider the gut health your body's bouncers. Let me explain. So this is a huge game-changing point here. A significant portion of the body's immune system lives in our guts. And it is a diverse and healthy microbiome that acts like a security team, identifying and fighting off all bad bacteria and viruses. But when the gut's a mess, the bouncers get lazy and the whole system becomes more vulnerable to illnesses. Think of your gut microbiome as your body's security team, right? So a healthy one is diverse, strong. That crew is ready to handle anything that comes their way. But when we're eating junk and you're stressed out, it's like you're firing half that strong security team and replacing it with a bunch of slackers. Your body is less able to fight off small things like colds, sore throats, sicknesses, inflammation, which is at the root of so many chronic diseases, that unhealthy microbiome. And then there is finally that vicious cycle of ignoring symptoms. Now, we are all guilty of this. It's not that big of a deal. I'll worry about it later. But guys are often taught to just tough it out. And that is a whack AF mindset when it comes to your gut health specifically, because ignoring persistent bloating, acid reflux, and other digestive issues is not a sign of strength. It's actually a recipe for bigger problems down the road. Ignoring your digestive system is like ignoring the check engine light in your car. You might get a little bit further down the road, but eventually you're going to break down on the side of the road somewhere, and getting back on track is going to be a lot harder and a lot more expensive if you just listened to the warning signs in the first place. So let's talk about some common challenges and disruptors of that gut. So some of the things that throw off the gut are some of the things that throw off almost everything else. So poor diet. So a lot of overprocessed foods, a lot of that vending machine stuff, that fast food stuff, a lot of boxed items, even some frozen foods. A lot of those things are going to be overprocessed, high in sugar, low in fiber. So that does not give your body naturally what it needs for your gut biome to be able to continue to function as it needs to. Also, high levels of stress. Cortisol spikes affect the digestion. Like, I can tell you, anytime I get overly stressed, my appetite is the first thing that goes, like most people. Other people have things that show up differently, like stomach disturbances, and, there may be some nausea and some vomiting, things like that. I don't go that far, but I can tell when my levels of stress are super high because my appetite is the first thing to go. I just feel sick and I don't want to eat anything. So that's a clue right there. That's a disruptor. Alcohol and smoking, they irritate that digestive lining. So if you do either one of these things, make sure you're doing it in moderation, because again, you've got to keep that gut biome balanced. Also, a lack of movement. Again, this is such a huge thing. And remember that baseline that I've talked about several episodes, 150 minutes per week, which roughly equates to 30 minutes per day. Regular activity is going to help the gut move properly. Even sleep quality plays a role in your gut balance. So in terms of movement, I don't know if you pay any attention, but I've put this to the test for the past few years. After I eat a large meal, especially in the fall, because like in the fall, like it's colder outside and you start to fall more into those comfort foods. I know I do. My family does too. We have certain things that we only make in the fall. And they're particularly heavy meals. But if you notice, you will get very, very tired and very sluggish after those meals. But if you get up and you take a walk, you'll start to notice that things will start to get moving. And that's the same thing for constipation. Anytime that you get jammed up, as they would call it, and back in the day when I was a kid, getting up and moving around and like twisting the waist, it actually wrings out the intestines. So when you start to twist around the waist, so anytime I like, especially after Thanksgiving, like when I eat after Thanksgiving, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do some yoga moves. There's specific yoga moves that I do to kind of twist the intestines and like wring them out almost like a wash rag, and it immediately gets the system moving. So yeah, that's definitely going to be key in helping with that gut biome. So now let's get into those practical steps you can take. So here's what you can do. Number one, we want to get into eating more fiber. Now, I know fiber might not sound sexy, but it's important to know that you can get a lot of your fiber in your diet if your diet is that nutrient dense diet that I have been talking about, where 80 to 90% of your diet is whole, healthy foods, lean proteins, smart carbs, fruits and vegetables, healthy fats. If your diet is 80 to 90% of that, you're going to get what you need, your recommended daily amount of fiber to help keep that gut functioning properly. So we're going to feed those good guys. Fiber is like the food for the beneficial bacteria in the gut. So we are talking about, again, fruits, vegetable, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. It's not just a big bottle of Metamucil, y'all. Okay. That's external once you're not getting everything that you need in your diet. Number two, fermented foods. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I am not the biggest fan of fermented foods, but we're going to talk about it. So welcome to the world of probiotics through food. So yogurts, kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut. Those are your fermented foods. For me, again, I am not the biggest fan of these things. Yogurt, it's a texture thing. I can eat yogurt sometimes. Greek yogurt is particularly really good for you, especially if you have like lactose sensitivity. It's really good for you to be able to take it without having any stomach upsets. So taking in those things, and there are ways you can dress it up, like add a fruit, add a chocolate drizzle or caramel drizzle, add some seeds and nuts on top of it. Boom. And there you go. You have just entered your probiotics into your diet without needing a probiotic supplement. So, there you go. They're packed with beneficial bacteria. Number 3, hydrate consistently. This is something that is very overlooked because lack of hydration is the root cause of so many things. If you have frequent headaches, 9 times out of 10, you're dehydrated. If you have frequent leg cramps, you're dehydrated. If you are constantly hungry, or so you think, you're dehydrated. If you are fatigued, most times, you're dehydrated. Dehydration is the root cause of a lot of things, and you don't even think it. So by the time you feel like you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So water supports digestion and nutrients transports. And it's a simple thing. It's simple, but it's crucial. Water is going to help to move everything along and keep that gut happy, keep everything flowing. So now there was always for like forever, we've heard you need 8-ounce glasses of water per day. That is not necessarily the case. I talked about this in the past on the show. The amount of water that a person needs is going to vary by the person's body composition, the body makeup, the height, the weight, all the things. So find out what the amount of water is that you need to take in and make sure that you're taking that in. And I don't know about you, but for me, water can get boring, plain water. So you can try fruit infused waters. That is one of my go-tos. I absolutely love like a pineapple water, a strawberry water. Those types of things help you to get your water intake in. And also remember that just drinking water is not the only way to get water and to consistently hydrate, because there are foods that have high water content: tomatoes, lettuce, spinach, watermelons, all the melons, cantaloupes, honeydews. Those things have high water content in it. So you are literally eating your water. So you don't necessarily have to sit and guzzle it all day long. That's another way to get your water in. All right. Number 4, right back to that movement. Make sure that you are moving daily. Again, walking after meals, if you can, it helps because it helps to move. It helps your digestive system to move it through a little bit faster. And again, that 150 minutes per week, 30 minutes per day. Get that in. And finally, number 5, we want to manage our stress. I talk about this very frequently on the show. I've given several tips and several ways in which you can manage your stress. We've talked about meditation. We've talked about deep breathing exercises. We've talked about downtime, whatever downtime looks like for you. Sometimes downtime looks like a coloring book for me. It looks like watching anime. It looks like crocheting, crafting. Whatever downtime looks like for you, do that, because that is going to help to disrupt the stress signals that your nervous system is sending to your brain, therefore reducing the amount of cortisol that your body is pumping, taking us out of that fight or flight mode. Just remember that small, consistent changes make big differences. Even if you may not see it at first, it definitely does. All right, family, that's it. And that's your gut check. Start paying attention to your digestion. Pay very close attention. If you have to, get a little log and write it down so that you can start to document when there are changes. If your life is busy like mine, sometimes writing things down, little changes, that's when you will start to notice patterns and changes that may require some attention, because sometimes we get to moving in our lives and we aren't paying attention until it becomes a bigger issue. Remember to fuel your body with nourishing foods and don't ignore the signs. Share this episode with the man you love. Subscribe for more men and women's wellness insights. And remember, a healthy gut equals a stronger, sharper, more energized you. I'll see you in the next episode, fam.